Today I'm going to show you a cool little trick that I use to take a very simple chord progression and turn it into something way more interesting. Let's go. Let's start with a really basic chord progression in the key of G, using chords 1, 4, and 5, G, C, and D. It would be really easy to just throw that idea straight in the trash. It's boring, it's been done before, it's not going anywhere. But just before you do chuck it in the trash can, one thing I like to do is write a second part to my very simple part using slightly more interesting chord inversions. Now, if you don't know much about inversions, check out this little video that I made up there, and that will help you understand what they are. Okay, so our little chord progression had a G, a D, a C, and back to a D again. Okay, well maybe I could use this root position of G, and I could slide back a fret into this first inversion of D. A few options here. I could come up to this C, and come back to this D. Or I could maybe come down to this C, back to this D. Or I could go to this C, and then up to this D. So already, those inversions are way more interesting to my musical ear. And what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to make up a rhythm or a picking pattern on the spot. Who knows how it's going to come out. And I'm going to put it over the top of the simple chords. It's sounding all right, more interesting, a little bit cheesy, kind of taking on an Eric Clapton Wonderful Tonight vibe, but it's not that. Okay, so copyright police, you can sod off. Now, here's the trick. We're going to get rid of the first part, I'm going to mute it, and we're going to write a third part over the top of the second part, okay? And then those are going to become our new first and second part. See where I'm going with this? So I could come up high, maybe play my G up here. Maybe play my D here, C here. And I could play my D here, or go back to here. Or maybe I could even do a lower inversion of G here. I could do my D here, C here, and then back to the D. I actually quite like the sound of the lower inversions there, so I'm going to change over to the bridge pickup and try that one out. I like that palm muted part that I've just done with the lower inversions, somewhere between Queen and the Strokes. I'm not intentionally ripping off these artists, I'm just going with the flow. But the Clapton part sounds a bit odd now. So what I'm going to do is write a fourth part, which is going to become my new second part. I was just playing around with the higher inversions of the G, C, and D from before. And I realized that the open strings are all in the key of G. So what if I kind of did some cool pull-off lick with those inversions? Let's see if that works. Way more interesting than before. You see, now we like G, D, C, D. Terrible tribute band, by the way. Never go see them. Okay, I've got an idea. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put the kind of palm muted rhythm in the middle, and then I'm going to write a new left panning part to go with this part and try and do like a weird hammer-on pull-off harmony. Okay, so I'm going to try the same kind of pull-off pattern, but this time with this G, D here, C, maybe try C sus2, and back to the D. See how it sounds. So originally, even though it was 3 major chords, it was kind of like drawn out and romantic, whereas now we've kind of gone double time and it's way more playful. It reminds me of like Vampire Weekend. They play around a lot with major chords and it's always kind of like good, happy summer vibes. Now, I just want this to kind of be a lesson in not ditching something straight away. How far can you go with an idea? And believe me, you can go part after part after part. You can go far with it. So what I want to do now is quickly just chuck a programmed drum beat underneath from Logic Drummer. So I'm going to get the drummer to follow the rhythm part. So what we need now is a sprinkling of bass. Okay, here we go with a very simple, quick one-take bass line. Now very quickly, can we chuck in a solo? And the answer is yes, of course we can chuck in a solo, because that's what we're here to do. We're in the key of G. It's going to sound like really crap John Mayer. That was the shoulders test, okay? Watch this now. It doesn't work, okay? Failed the shoulders test. This one, it passes the shoulders test. As always, another freezing brew, but I feel good about today's video. If anything, it just shows you that no idea is worthless and rubbish. And yes, some things do end up in the trash can, but before they do, make sure that you give them a proper good scene too, okay? Because you never know. Might just pass the shoulder test.